everybody, and welcome to Paranormal Nation Radio, Not So Normal. How's Denise and Ron doing this Tuesday evening?
We are doing good.
Hey, Nigel.
Thank you.
Oh, Nigel's always in there and shared to his group.
Yeah, we just saw that's going to be the next hurricane name. It's Nigel.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you did hear about that and say that last night and stuff.
Yeah, I saw that. We were laughing.
And where's that one coming in from?
Africa, I guess.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, the hurricanes are doing a lot of crazy stuff this year.
They ain't hitting here.
No, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that Lee is not coming up.
Yeah.
And everything. And I mean, that one there was packing a punch, but I guess it's going to hit up further, Boston and all up in there, but it won't be as strong as it is right now.
Right. That still will be a mess. A lot of rain.
Right.
Ron's mom just asked me to send her the link to the show.
The link to the show?
Not to talk, but to watch.
Well, bring her in.
Oh,
Here's our guest.
Man.
Special guest.
That's right.
Come here.
I'm just trying to. Sometimes finding it on my phone is not that easy.
Did you want that blind?
No, I closed
I saw you.
Yeah, I closed the shears just to cut down on the glare, even though it's not really. There's really not any sunlight. It's kind of going to rain here, or at least act like it's going to rain.
Right.
So,
well, up here we're in beautiful, cool weather. Today got up to 81.
Ooh.
But this morning, getting up, it was 53 degrees.
Wow.
Tomorrow, they're talking 49 degrees.
Uh-oh.
So,
hey, you didn't make it out to the graveyard last week, did you?
No, I had a lot of other things. I had to go to, Thursday. What did I do? Oh, Thursday, after I got off work, I ran to St. Joe to get my, check my glasses out.
Yeah.
And everything, the new prescription and everything. And did that. And then I had to go back up Saturday to see the eye doctor. He wanted to verify all the settings because the original eye doctor screwed everything up. Right? He goes, I have no idea where she got these numbers from. I said, I can tell you where. You're in person. She was virtual up on the TV, controlling everything.
There's no way.
And he agreed with me. He says, from now on, here's your prescription, your actual prescription. He says, if you come back when you schedule, make sure there's a doctor here. And I went, oh, I will. I'm not going through the virtual crap again.
No.
So
next Tuesday.
And I gave him my other glasses that are my sunglasses, and I got a message from them today. They're in. So probably Thursday when I get off work, me and Tammy will head up there and I'll get my prescription sunglasses. So
yesterday, yesterday, a guy called here. Lives out in that area, out by Sour Castle in KCK. And he wanted to know more about haunted places in Kansas City area. And I'm sending him a message now, so maybe he can listen in so that we could talk about that some more. He wanted to know, basically at the time, yesterday when he was talking to me, is it safe to take your 16-year-old son to the Sally house?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I said,
not a problem.
Yeah, and I explained to him why I said that. And we talked about some of the things that, he had seen a video of me talking to David Glidden way back, the way back machine.
Yeah, way back in the day.
Yeah, I remember that.
So that actually, David was probably one of the first ones we went with out there after Rick. Haunting History, filmed season 2, episode 1 was the Sally House, and that was us on there. And so the guy wanted to know more. So I told him more. I didn't tell him everything, but I told him more. And told him it was okay to take your 16-year-old son to the house. But I did explain to him that I thought that it probably wasn't the best idea to go and spend the night because it was expensive, to just take a day tour and maybe do some other things along the way. Maybe go check out the McIntyre Villa or the trolley tour or the river house, go eat at a haunted restaurant, things like that. Because I don't know what all they're doing at the Atchison Chamber of Commerce anymore.
Not a clue.
Since we haven't, we've been to Atchison, twice since 2017?
Yeah.
So, I thought, maybe that's something we could talk about. Some of the locations in the area that might be helpful to people who are used, they want to do something, but they want somebody to tell them, is this location safe for, 16 and under? Is this location, does it have heat, air, toilets, things like that? We never would have thought about that stuff when we went to the Sally House the first time. Was there a toilet available?
We seen all kinds of ages come in. We even had my granddaughter up there at the time. She was 9 or 10, something like that, and everything, but not for an overnight visit.
No,
right, and stuff, and we never seen an issue up there, and everything, but overnight investigations. I don't know what kind of age you would really put on that.
Well,
hi, Kelly.
Well, because you think about it, if a kid spends the night at a friend's house that happens to be haunted, you don't know if your friend's house is haunted, your kids' friend's house is haunted. So, is it safe? It's just safe. It's as safe as you want it to be in a lot of cases, but you still have to have an adult there.
Exactly.
Somebody that can take the kid home safely, things like that. You just can't assume that
Kelly,
you're going to, we know that after 3:00 in the morning, the Sally House was quiet. You could go to sleep and not have any problems.
Nothing ever happened after 3:00.
And so you could go.
Ever. We did a lot of overnights.
And then from 3 to 7, you're probably fine, because if you go back in history, Tony Pickman said it was around 7:00 in the morning when he saw the spirit of a little girl in his kitchen. Does that mean that it's going to be more haunted from 7:00 in the morning, 3:00 in the morning? More than likely, since nobody has ever said that they've had anything happen to them in that time frame that we know of.
Yeah, 3 to 7.
Exactly. Yeah, we know up there at the Sally House and everything. I know you guys were there, tour guides longer. I helped a year up there with you and stuff. But it was like 3:15 in the morning. It went dead silent. You could go in there. I've slept on the couches. I've slept on the floor up there in the house, and no issues, right? But like we were talking about children, you got to have, to me, nobody under the age of 18 should be in a paranormal investigation without their parent or guardian and everything.
But I have to say, you have to know that those teenagers, those tweens, are out there doing what they want to do when we're not looking.
Right. The 16, 17-year-olds that have cars,
Yeah, we don't know where they're going, what they're doing.
We'll take for example the kids in St. Joe, Missouri. Okay, what 20 miles from Atchison and everything. They all jump in a car. They can go over there if they got the money and pay whatever the paranormal investigation is going to be that night up there. Pay it and be in that investigation, and their parents wouldn't even know about it.
Because they didn't have to show any ID. All they had to do is sign the paper and say that they were 18, because it was 18 was where the limit was. I don't know how many times I had to make sure that there were parents that brought their kids. That one group of kids, they got so sick on the haunted. I mean, she was sick on the haunted hop. As soon as she walked in the Sally house, I had to give her a trash can to throw up. She was that sick. But I had to get, I went ahead and I made sure that the ID for the parent matched what the kid signed on the paper. But I don't know if anybody's doing that, but they never made us do that. But if they were younger than 13, 14 years old, and it was obvious, I was checking.
And it's just like on an investigation. If you're with your child on an investigation and you see your child acting in a different way and the child wants to get out of it, you go with that child. Mm-hmm. Okay? I was in an investigation at the 1859 jail with a group of people, right? The paranormal people had their 12 or 13-year-old son with them. We was up on the second floor in the jail cell area when this kid, and he's been to several investigations with his parents, right? He started feeling real uneasy and everything, and he goes, I got to get out of here and stuff. I'm almost in tears type feeling. So he got up and walked down, right? There's nobody downstairs. I looked at his mother and father and I went, I'm going downstairs. I went down with him and everything to make sure he was okay, talk to him. And he just said he got real scared up there for some reason and everything. But his parents were paranormal investigators. And they didn't even follow their child down.
Well, and that's the thing. We're paranormal investigators. We are supposed to be aware of our surroundings completely, and they were totally oblivious to this.
Mm-hmm.
And how can you say you're observant if you didn't see your kid leave, or you didn't go with your kid?
Did they knew he left.
Did they say anything?
When they came down later, they said, "Is he okay?" And I went, "Yeah." After I talked to him, and we went outside, and I got him some fresh air. And we talked, and me and him were together probably 45 minutes.
Now, see, every time you've seen me hold a baby for an hour and a half while a parent investigated the Sally house.
That you wanted to use it as a trigger object.
Right, and I wouldn't allow that. We had that, and like I said, we had those girls that came on it was a birthday thing. And they came in after they had played soccer and stuff, and they got sick. Happens. But I did not leave those kids aside the entire time. Even if the parents were there, I wasn't leaving the kids alone, because it was my responsibility as the liaison, anyway, between the Chamber of Commerce and the people to make sure. Well, I tell people I'm a people herder. I'm really good at it. And so that's kind of what we had to do, is we kind of had to make sure that we kept our bases covered, that everybody was, taken care of, whether it was a child or an adult. We were with them the whole time. I mean, I felt bad for the kids when they were sick. Luckily, I don't think we had to deal with that very much. I think we only had like 3 tours where we had children on them. But none. Yeah, haunted hops.
Oh, haunted hops, yeah.
But they were children over 12.
Yeah, dates.
Right.
We had lots of kids come in.
Yeah, we had lots of kids, babies to 19, so,
Mm-hmm.
and we had some elderly adults as well that needed attention. So, good
Good
night.
night,
Thank you for
Nigel.
being here. But it you also need to gauge the maturity of the child too when you go to a haunted location. How mature is your child going to be? Has the child been the guy who called me, I said, really nice guy. He said his kid was really into, heavy metal bands and Slipknot and things like that. I was like, well, this might just be his cup of tea,
It might be. It might be something that him and his son can bond together and enjoy if the father is wanting to go with him and stuff.
One of the things the father told me that I found interesting, it was near the end of the call, and he had told me that he had cancer a few years ago, probably 5 or 6 years ago. And he said he doesn't believe in the spirits, but he goes, what I saw, he goes, when I had cancer was every time, and he was trying to think of the word, but out of the corner of his eye, he saw these shadows the whole time that he was sick while he was being treated and all that other stuff. And before he got clean from the cancer, he said it stopped seeing them. So he felt like he was being attacked by something and then suddenly stopped, and he found out he was cancer free. I thought that was an interesting piece of information.
It is. And, that's one way of looking at it. Hi, Crystal Marie.
Hey, Crystal.
But yeah, that's one way of looking at it, because he had cancer, and while he's being treated, he'd see the shadows. Now, are these the shadows that are trying to put the cancer back in him, the spirit's putting it back in him, or is it his spirit guides and stuff that are telling him, keep doing this because it's going to cleanse your body?
Or was it the Reaper that was trying to catch him, and the medication, the doctors worked, did everything that they could, cleaned him up, got all that out of him, and they just stopped showing up because he wasn't going to die anymore. That, maybe they were waiting.
Right. Well, that's just like, okay, you knew my brother passed away and everything, and was in bad shape there the last month that he was alive at home in bed. And my sister-in-law and nieces and nephew and everything that were there 24/7 with him and everything, there towards the end, when he was conscious enough to talk before the morphine drops that they put him on, basically put him in a coma to finish out his life because of the pain of the cancer and everything. He kept telling them he seen Mom, he seen Papa, and when they told me that, and I said, it's getting close. It's getting real, real close, because my brother, he didn't believe in the paranormal, okay? But when he's talking about my mom that had passed away, Papa that had passed away in 79, that the two important people in our lives and everything. And he kept saying that he's seen them there the last couple of weeks. And like I told Carla, I said, it's getting real close. They're letting him know it's time to come.
Yeah, there's two things. That's one of the signs. And the other signs was the good days. Really good day.
Well, he said he didn't believe in the paranormal. Actually, what happened, that is normal. That's not.
It's not abnormal in any way.
No, it's not.
Right.
But the paranormal investigators or paranormal people and stuff, hearing stuff like that,
it just confirms
validates more of the spirits there.
Exactly.
People on their deathbed are seeing family members. They even see family members that they have no idea who they are.
But yet they know who they are.
There's people standing at my foot of my bed. And then they describe, and family members go back and check. Oh, did you see this one? Yeah. You know, I can remember when Papa passed away. Okay. I was in the military and was home, got home. Uh, it was around, what was it? Middle of December. So we took 2 weeks off in the military. I got 2 weeks off out of there. And I came home on a Thursday. Friday morning, I got up, went to the bank, did some stuff, and come back. And Papa was bedridden and everything with cancer. And Mom came in and said, "Go get Dad. Papa had just passed away." Right? So we did all that, had everything, go to the funeral, the whole 9 yards. About 4 days after he had passed away, I was asleep in what would have been Mamaw's bedroom, the very back bedroom, right? And I woke up, and at the foot of the bed, Papa was standing right there, which I was his namesake and real close to him at all times. But I could see him just as clear as I'm seeing you two right now. Now, whether he was standing there or I woke up and dreamed it,
right?
I couldn't tell you. But I mean, yeah, if I knew right then and there he would be around me all the time. So, yeah, it's a lot of different things go on with the paranormal. But yeah, if that guy jumps on, if he's listening, the areas around Kansas City there, I know you guys know a lot more of them and stuff than I do,
Hey,
but
Mom.
The 1859 jail in Liberty is a real good place.
Oh yeah.
You mean in Independence?
Or Independence.
Is it open this year?
Who's running that now?
And if
I have no idea who's running it.
Yeah.
You know, after I see your mom's in here.
Yeah.
Hi, Karen. But I don't know who is. I know, Dust to Dawn ran it for years down there.
Yeah.
And after Jimmy passed,
they did a great job.
Yeah, Jimmy passed. That kind of ended that. And then I know Apex went in there for a year. And then I haven't heard any more about who's running it or who's doing it down there.
I don't see anything on their calendar. Oh, here we go. Possibly. Jail Haunts Tours. So they are doing tours. I don't think it's a tour. I think it's an investigation. It's from 7 p.m. to 11:30 on October 6th and 7th. Yeah. So every weekend in October, and that's it.
Okay, what they're doing, I know exactly what they're doing. That's 7 to 11.
Yeah.
They're doing the trolley out front. People pay. They go through with one of the people that works for the jail there, right? They lead them through and tell them stories about what went on in there. They come out, they load up on the covered wagon, they run around the square and everything. I know we helped Jimmy and them down there do that.
This says join us for a tour and a paranormal investigation.
A little mini one.
So it's kind of the same as the haunted hop. And so they've got that. And then after that, it's closed. So
you don't even, you're on that site there. Look up. Can you still rent the place for an investigation? Because I don't even know. I haven't heard anybody doing that.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't even know who's running it now.
It does not say. This says programs offered and things like that. I'm looking to see because the link does not work very well. So let's see what it says.
Because that was always a good place to investigate.
Yeah, and there says age 13 and up. Going back to that.
Yeah, that's a good place to go.
So,
I'd start there.
Yeah.
A little 4-hour tour.
And
that'd be a good place.
And the organizer is actually Jackson County Historical Society. It's not. It doesn't have any paranormal team listed to go with it.
Oh.
I mean, all the work's been done.
Yeah.
And so that's a place that they can go. The Glore up there in St. Joe, they have paranormal tours during haunted season.
Yeah, that's the Children's Psychiatric Hospital.
Was it children? No, it was just a psychiatric hospital.
Well, no, the building you investigate was children's.
All I know is that they take you down into the tunnel that goes to the prison.
Exactly. And down in that tunnel, there's all the stuff from what the kids made.
I remember that part.
Yeah.
If you go down in there, there's a Monte Carlo down in there, all fixed up and redone as a show car. Cassidy's other grandfather, Mike's dad, was the teacher that helped them do that.
Huh.
Oh.
Yeah, because we watched it on a video and Mike was telling me, he goes, I'll show you a picture of that. He went in and got the file and brought it out and said, here's that car. And there's Dad and all the kids that they did it in a workshop.
Yeah.
He went and bought the car. I think he got it for $150. It was a piece of junk.
What year?
Right? 78.
Oh, the one with the really
short,
big
one of those short
big.
Monties.
Yeah, those are the little ones that look like
and
like a
they
mini
went
house.
through and redone the entire car and custom painted it and took it to car shows. So yeah, but that little building right there on the corner from where the state hospital used to be, which is the prison now.
Right.
That was the Children's Psychiatric Hospital.
Okay, so I know that they do tours. Another place, the Beatty Mansion, they do tours. The people that are running it seem like really nice people. That's another place that you can go and get a tour, spend the night, whatever. Beatty was a nursing home at one time, so it's a rather large building. But another one that does not have plumbing, or at least it didn't before, didn't have plumbing or heat.
Yeah.
So that wasn't very much fun. And then,
are they doing anything down on Rubidoux Road down there?
Oh, Rubidoux. I don't know. I know that there's a bunch of Airbnb, a bunch of bed and breakfasts, not Airbnbs, but bed and breakfasts where you can go and spend the night, and the places are haunted, like the Whiskey Mansion and some others down there. It's a good place to go walk around. You know, you can go walk around a bunch of the mansions there. There's a lot of history there that you can look up and find. There's that one graveyard there where a lot of the Chinese that worked on the railroad were buried. Mm-hmm. That was, what was that called?
Where was this?
Liberty, or not Liberty, St. Joe. We went out there.
Oh yeah,
it's a really neat graveyard. By the way, the Mexican restaurant also haunted. That's on the hill there in Rubidoux near there. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah, and also up on Be Nice Street in Jewel is the Mexican restaurant, Barbosa's.
That's it, Barbosa's.
The castle.
Yeah,
we always call it.
That's where when we took. Okay, so when they did their very first tour of St. Joe, Missouri, we took it. We were the guinea pigs. Me, Ron, Lauren, Leah, and Morgan. We all went, and that's where we met up. Was at Barbosa's. We went to that graveyard. We did a round there at Rubidoux and some other places as well. But these are places that are more than likely easier to get into because you're paying to get in. You know,
Right.
you go to the restaurant, you just buy food and you get to experience it.
You get to sit there and watch stuff, and things happen.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And then I also told him, you know, check out the River House, and told him, you know, that there was a video that's available from PBS called Plains Spirits, PLAINS Spirits, and it talks about the underground there in Leavenworth, as well as what was then called the Pepper Mill, which is back. It was the River House, then it was the Pepper Mill, and now it's back to the River House. Talks about the different hauntings in those locations. And I told him, you know, hey, if you want to do something in Leavenworth, you know, we know Cassie's doing tours out there, and that might be something they want to check out.
Yeah.
Someplace that not a lot of people have witnessed paranormal activity yet.
Right.
There's quite a few things there in Leavenworth that, you know, hard to get into, but if you can get in there, find out, spread the word, make Leavenworth realize their haunted history. So,
and I mean, and then we got St. Joe covered, we got Leavenworth covered. Down in Liberty, let's see what's in Liberty.
The Belvoir Winery.
Yeah.
Or the Oddfellows Home, however you want to call it. It's interesting. That's also a place where you could spend the night.
Yeah,
you got a bed and breakfast there.
Yep.
The only thing I'm gonna tell you,
that's probably what I would do.
Yeah.
You can rent a room and then, you know, kind of walk around everywhere.
Yeah, because you can investigate.
Yeah.
You just can't go in places willy-nilly, but you can go out to the graveyard and all the stuff out there, and you can get wine. You know, not for your 16-year-old kid, but for everybody else. Right. But I will say, if you ever spend the night there in one of the rooms, they offer you earplugs, you know, to drown out the noise. It is because of the transoms and the doors are kind of high. You can hear everything in the hallway. So don't plan on sleeping in. So, but it was a comfortable bed and it was a nice room. What's funny is when we look at it, we still see in our brains the rooms what they looked like before all this stuff was in there. You know, they were just big open like classroom stall, you know, room with a chalkboard. You know, it was nice. So we've seen it. We saw it before, during, and after. So because we stayed for our anniversary once. And there's some really nice drawings on the wall there that were done by Adam Tillery of the spirits there. On the first, there you can see them all up and down the first floor. They also do a murder mystery dinner there as well. So, like I said, a lot of things that you can do, not necessarily have to pay to go stay in a haunted house, but that you can witness possibly a haunting without having to do a whole lot. Because, I mean, you can go to the Belvoir Winery on that first floor. You can walk all around that first floor while you're there. You don't have to pay to stay. You don't have to buy wine. Just don't interfere with anybody's wedding that's going on or any of the events that are going on. They don't care. But
well, that's like in Excelsior Springs. You can go to the Elms, rent a room. It's hard to tell what you'll see.
They've got some really good rooms. I mean, some friends of ours had rented one of the rooms there, and they said they had a lot of activity. We went there, but we didn't know. We walked around on the first floor. We walked around out back by the swimming pool, by the well, things like that. It was really pretty. I don't know if they keep the hauntings locked up somewhere else.
You're not allowed to go out tonight. We got certain people in there, so y'all got to stay in here.
Yeah, you know, I don't know, but I didn't see anything that made me go, hey, this place is haunted. And it could just be because, you know, it was a Saturday and this Friday or Saturday, Sunday in the summertime, and the swimming pool was busy and, you know, had a full house. Maybe if we'd have went on a day that it wasn't so busy, maybe people would have talked to us.
And then also in Excelsior, down there, you got, what is it, the Halls of Water?
The Hall of Waters. But again, why would that be haunted?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. I talked to some people that have been there. They didn't get nothing.
That's what I've heard.
So
I didn't know. I always thought about going down there and checking it out. And then I heard people talk at no.
Yeah.
But you know what? Right down the street from the Elms, like you walk out the front door and you go straight, just a little bit to the left, there is a house there that used to be the sheriff's home and jail. It's an Airbnb where you can rent overnight. I would do that.
Yeah, I would too.
And another thing that a lot of people don't know is there is a couple houses there that Bonnie and Clyde stayed in, rumored to have stayed in.
Right.
Do I know that for sure? Not really, but you know that they were all over that part of the country.
Yes, they were.
I mean, there were so many places they had shootouts, and I mean, just there down there near Parkville. You know, they had the one by where the airport is now. Mm-hmm. You know, where the Cloverleaf is. There was a big shootout at a hotel there that no longer exists. So, but yeah, you've got that. I mean, so we got that. What else would?
He might even be on there.
It doesn't matter. We're talking paranormal, so that's helpful.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we are. We're talking about haunted places. Do you want to do it?
Hall of Water.
Hall of Waters.
Yeah.
It's actually in a book about the locations. I mean, Katie and Katie have talked about it. Do I know anything about it? Nope, never been there.
But there's a lot of big mansions in the Kansas City area down there that they do investigations in too. And stuff. I mean, if somebody's interested in everything, all they got to do is research a little bit and put paranormal investigations in the Kansas City area.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure something would pop up. But my advice to you is see who's doing the investigation.
Yeah.
And ask somebody you trust.
And ask somebody you trust that's been with them or been to the investigation and different things like that.
You know,
because that's just a normal question you need to ask.
Because it's basically good business practice. You know, who's got a good business practice that you're going to go with.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Shawnee Indian Mission. I don't know how many times I'd been by that place. I used to work down the street, and we used to live up the street from there. So we used to drive by it. Heck, anytime we left the house, anytime I went to work for years, because I worked right there at Rainbow, and I worked at Sprint headquarters when it was there. So I got to see it every day.
Right.
But that's another place where recently they started doing, in the last 5 years, started doing paranormal investigations. And the history of that place is just astronomical. You've got all kinds of stuff going on. Native American burial ground, check that off your list. You know.
Yeah.
So that's always one of those things that people ask about. You know, so it's a good place to check out. I don't know who's doing tours there. I would assume that it's Jackson County or Fairway or Westwood. Right. I don't remember if it's Westwood or Fairway, but it's an interesting place to go, and it's one of those places you can just walk around as well during the day without any problems because it's a state site. So,
and back to the Airbnbs, you got one in Smithville.
Mm-hmm. The Patterson House is what it's called. It's also called the Smithville Historical Society, and we've stayed there, and that's operated by Katie Stafford. She is on the board of directors there, and so that's a nice one. And then they've also got in Smithville the Oddfellows home there,
right?
That they recently opened up for paranormal investigations. So, and I think there's also something else there. Can't think of what.
Oh, where we held the
restaurant up there?
Premiere of Ghosts of Devil's Perch with KD. and them. It's downtown, a catty corner of the park. It's a coffee shop there
Oh,
where they do theater plays. Katie and Katie both said it's haunted too, and the lady that works there said, "Yeah, it's haunted." Now
Smithville's
they,
got an
as far as
interesting history.
investigating it, go in, get you a cup of coffee, and sit down, or go see one of the theater shows.
Yeah, it's one of those areas that you just don't know what you're going to run into, but there's a lot of history there related to the Quantrill Raiders and stuff pre Civil War and post as well. Just, I mean, one of the things about the museum, the Smithville Historical Society, is when you if you get to go into the museum. So when we rented a room there, the guy gave us a tour of the museum. The room was probably no bigger than our bedroom. Okay,
Right.
tons of stuff. I mean, we could have stayed in that room for 10 hours and still not saw everything. But he showed us a picture of the racetrack that was in Smithville. I mean, it was
Mm-hmm.
huge. All kinds of stuff. It was just really kind of neat um, to see all that stuff that they had in that little bitty area.
Yeah, Bill.
Yep. Well, that's kind of like what Jonna said the other day. You know, she doesn't paranormal investigate because she had to make a decision of what she wanted to do. She want,
Mm-hmm.
so it's the same thing,
It exactly is in
So
everything. But yeah, I mean it's getting into that time of the season. Here we are, middle of September. We got October coming up. Okay, what's going on?
uh, somebody's trying to break into my computer.
Someone is
Oh,
trying to break in
Mm-hmm.
to your work one.
Yep.
What happened?
how do you?
So it's just trying to break in and it's asking me to approve. Are you trying to sign in? No, I'm not. No, it's not me.
Mm,
Let's say, did you get a beep?
that's not good.
No. And because I'm not on, I mean, I'm on my work computer, but I'm not on the network.
Not on a VPN.
Right.
I don't know. I just moved the mouse.
No, that's not you.
Okay.
If you'd hit connect, it'd have been a whole different thing. And you didn't. So.
And Bill said he got first hand of a demon.
Oh, that's not good.
That's not good. When he was
No.
younger?
Yeah, when he was younger, when he was messing in the spirit world.
Oh, well. It could have been, I don't know, messing with Ouija boards or who knows.
It's
what you don't
hard
know.
Yeah.
It's what you don't know that can hurt you.
Exactly.
So,
and if you go on a paranormal investigation, you got to, how would we say this? For somebody that's not used to going or never been on an investigation,
board.
You got to make sure that you have protection of some type.
And we're not talking condoms, people.
No, we're not. We're not. That won't protect you from a spirit. That might protect from other things, but not a spirit.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean,
and we just bring Gary.
Yeah. Yeah. When we go on investigations, yeah, that's what I do. I make sure Gary's there.
Yeah,
Gary.
We cover our ass.
Doing pretty good.
That's true, Bill. A firearm won't help either.
No.
So,
no, it's firearm won't shoot a spirit.
Oh, it might, but it ain't gonna do anything.
And there's no way to capture one either.
Oh, darn. I was hoping to put some in some water jugs and sell them.
I know. Well,
doesn't work.
There are some people that put spirits in jugs and sell them.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
But it doesn't have nothing to do with the paranormal.
I don't know. A lot of those distilleries we've been to have been haunted.
Well, yeah. But
yeah, so when we're talking about protection, so when we're not with you and Gary and we go on a paranormal investigation, we just rely on Ron relies on his faith to keep him safe. I rely on his faith to keep me safe. I rely on myself and my faith that I'm not going to attract anything, but we all know that that doesn't seem to help. I still seem to attract something. I don't know why some things don't work so well for me that may be working great for Ron. I mean, he's never been touched by a spirit.
Never been scratched.
Yeah, you've never been. We don't think you've ever been touched by a spirit, do we? Except for maybe the Kingley.
Sally House. There's a couple other, like pushed in the shoulder.
So he's never been harmed.
Right. It's I wouldn't even say it was a push. It was like a tap. Like, hey,
right,
turn around.
So Bill says, now when I was 7, my childhood home had good spirits dressed in the middle 1800s. I saw a male and a female, and they were actually nice, but in the basement, I sensed something bad there. So, and why is it always the basement? It's the basement or the attic.
Well, it depends on how old the house is. You got to look at it. A lot of strange things happen in basements.
There's Gary.
Oh, really?
Oh.
That happens to a lot of people. And the devil goes to the lowest part. But basements, you look at any news story, any movie you see.
Yeah.
Where does all the stuff that happens to people when they're tortured? In the basement.
Is it because it's more soundproof?
I guess. If you're a human being and you're going to do something to somebody, tie them up, hold them hostage or whatever, you would do it in the basement.
Not in Florida.
No, not in Florida. You don't have basements.
Or
Louisiana or Arkansas.
Yeah.
Or anything.
Parts of Missouri.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're just going to dig a hole in that case and you're just going to make it into the storm cellar.
Mm-hmm.
Here, more than likely, the sand will fall.
Yeah, it'd fall in.
I mean, that would be it. So.
Well, you look at, and that's something you don't hear about. You brought that up, and I'm going to bring it up, is people that, investigators that go out to rural America to investigate. How many of them have you ever heard said they went into the cellar? The outside cellar? The big hump in the ground?
Well, we had people go in, maybe they don't think of it. Because when I was growing up, it was always the cellar. It wasn't the basement. And I think it's just based on where you're from.
Right. But
I never called it a basement until we got married and we had we didn't even have a basement. They had a basement in their house.
Right.
But most
cellar
of the
out on farms, usually out on farms, you see a big hump with a door. Open it up, and that's where all your preservatives, different things were kept down there because it's nice and cool down there.
We had to go in Patterson. We lived in a 2-story house, but you had to go out the back door and around to open up.
Okay, Gary.
Open up the cellar to get downstairs, and it was a dirt basement or a dirt floor cellar type thing. And that was the only thing that we ever, had. I mean, we lived in rental houses, so 99% of the time we didn't have a cellar or a basement. So Grandma had a cellar, is what she called it, but it was a basement. If you're going by that definition, it was a basement. So,
yeah, and there's some of them like that, the little bitty areas underneath old houses. You call it a basement or you call it a cellar or something like that.
Yep. That sucks.
But, yeah. With me working, it's hard to get down there to help him do anything like that. But I'm going to have to start making time and get down there.
Bye, Gary.
Bye, Gary.
Sorry it took so long for you to find us.
Yep. But yeah, the cellars and everything like that. The A lot of things happen down in it, and of course, you get down in cellars, you got mold, you got dampness, you got everything. It just makes it a creepy feeling to begin with, unless you're used to it.
Well, bugs makes your skin crawl, and
Snakes.
the humidity down there can make your skin crawl.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it just always makes me wonder why it's always the basement. Why is it always, you hear stuff about attics, but usually it's the basement that everybody goes, I'm creeped out by that. I don't know. I guess I've never really had a creep factor when it comes to that. I've had more creep factors in trailers that are above ground than than houses in my lifetime.
Yeah.
So, but that house we did live in New Jersey, that house, it was creepy. It was dark inside and it had rats, and so you get to the point to where you're always on alert. If you're always on alert, you're gonna have a feeling of being watched all the time. So maybe that's the biggest thing for a lot of people with cellars. They feel like they're being watched. So,
And a lot of things about older houses is if you're living in one and you see things, research your house before you draw any conclusions to anything, to see what the history all the way through has been in your house.
right.
That's a good place to start.
Yep, check the deeds. That's one of the things you can just check that online. The other thing is check Ancestry and all the genealogy sites about the people who live there, because that may not tell you what happened in your particular house, but it'll at least be able to tell you time frame of when people did live in certain places.
And who may have visited that house.
Mm-hmm.
So now you tell us.
Tell you what. But yeah, there's all kinds of things. I mean,
yeah, it wouldn't take much to look up the history of your new house.
Only thing we know
We're just talking about our first house.
Yeah, our first house we didn't know. I mean,
obviously,
there was no way. I mean, really, the internet wasn't huge in 1987.
No.
We bought the house in 86. I started my job at Sprint in 1990.
And you had no idea to dig through the newspapers in the area to see if that address popped up or anything.
And the thing is it still never popped up.
Oh, really?
Nope, never popped up.
Nah, even back then, all they do is they give, the block. And the block, whatever, they never gave the actual address.
Or,
things like even a murder or something like that.
A lot of times they didn't even give the actual name of who the victim was.
And they just pretty much say the area. It was the area was called Robindy. It said, probably in the Robindy area.
Or the 8700 block of of this
it's never
street.
Actual.
So yeah, it was kind of weird, but yeah, still nothing ever came up. I did find an obituary for the kid. I can't remember his name now, but I found an obituary for him. But I did that by looking for his mother's name because I knew her, actually knew her personally, so that made it a lot easier to find. But if it hadn't been for that guy at the car dealership, we probably would have been oblivious forever.
Yeah, we wouldn't have known. There's no way.
Probably.
Maybe the guy on the plane that I met might have said something later on, but that was weird when he said that his brother had committed suicide, and that was 2 doors down from where we lived. And that was after we moved out. So, I mean, I just randomly was sitting next to this guy on the plane. Apparently it was something I needed to know. But that neighborhood had a lot of suicide. I mean, that right there's 4 that we knew of. And 3 of the people we knew, not the people that committed suicide, but family members we knew directly. So it is just weird. But that Bannister Mall area had a lot of history from like the Santa Calagon trails. Santa Fe, Oregon, and California trails all went through that area.
Right.
So, and every time that the helicopter would go up from South Patrol, you could guarantee that you were going to see it in our backyard. Every time. They always had to go over the empty field behind our house. So, because it was always a place that people would run and try to hide in. I don't know.
You was talking about the suicides and houses and things like that, where events, certain things happen all the time. Look at all these places, especially nowadays. Look at all the homicides we have, especially in the bigger cities and everything. How many more houses are going to have major activity?
I don't know. And how many people...
Or the streets that they were shot in and everything. I mean, I had never thought about that, and that popped in my head when you were sitting there talking about that in that house.
Yeah. One of the things that we had driven by the site where the mass shooting happened near the Mandalay Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This was before that. Okay. Long before that. We were driving by it, and I had seen stuff there thinking, what are these spirits doing here? It seemed like an odd place. It was just a big vacant lot. They're supposed to have been putting in a Ferris wheel there, and they never did. Don't know why.
Got started on it.
Yeah, they had the pillars there for it. In fact, you could see it in the Mandalay Bay video that they were there. But yeah, they were supposed to have matching Lynx roller coasters, and they didn't. But yeah, we drove by it, and I would see these spirits. I mean, it was probably like 8 or 10 spirits. I couldn't, we're driving. You can't really stop and ask questions, But I saw them there, and so I told him. I said, "That's great." I said it was already haunted. Now it's going to be even more haunted. And I mean, I wasn't trying to be flippant about it, because our kid
could have been people that living on the streets that died there.
Yeah, it could have been anything.
Yeah.
They were all different, in raggedy clothes. You can't tell if it was who it was when it was. Okay. That's the big thing. You can tell when. But yeah, I mean, I'm not discounting anything that happened that night there, because, I told you this a long time ago. Our daughter was supposed to be there, and they decided not to go. And I'm grateful every day that they didn't go. But
exactly.
It's sad. I mean, you've got that, and then you go down the street to where Bally's is, and they say that Bally's is haunted from a fire that happened there when it was the MGM. And a bunch of people died in the hotel when it was a high-rise hotel then. Did I see anything when I was in Bally's? I just walked in and walked out. So, no, I didn't see anything. But, in Vegas, you can walk down the street and you're not sure if the people that you're seeing are spirits or people. So it's very strange when you think about it from that standpoint. But that area there, I don't think we've been by it since that happened.
Yeah, we haven't even been down on the strip the last few times we went.
Yeah, so if we went by, it was on the side by the Mandalay Bay.
The last time we went was on the strip. 2020. Yeah, 2020.
Because I got shoes.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason we went. I know we went in 2021. We went with Lacey. We went walking down.
Oh yeah, it was after. Yeah, it was right after the pandemic, because there was the only people that were out were the weird ones,
the crazy people from California.
Oh, there is crazy people out there in Vegas. When I was in that parade of trucks, semi trucks out there that went through, we paraded through downtown Vegas, and then we backed into certain casinos to sit there with our show trucks and everything. And the people walking around, that's why I asked that security guy and everything, who's watching my truck out here? He says there's cameras, and we're out here all night long.
Yeah.
Watching. I said, okay, I'm sitting there with a 200 and some $1,000 truck, semi, backed up there with all the lights on it and everything showing for them to go around and take pictures of. And it made you really uneasy watching certain people walking up and down the strip.
It was worse that time that we went in 2021. You had, so in the past you would see people out there with the little scooters, but they would be people who needed the scooters. This time it was some guy with a bottle of Patron down by his feet, drinking and driving on these little scooters, and they were racing each other. So you were in danger on the sidewalks more so than you were in the streets, because there was hardly any traffic on the street. But what little traffic there was on the sidewalks was horrible. And I told him, I said, I was never as concerned about being on the strip as I was that time. All the other times, I never had any issues at all.
Any other time, you got all the weird, crazy people are all out there all the time anyway. The only thing is they're mingled with all, the regular people, and you don't notice them as much. But after the pandemic, we went out there. That's all that was there were the crazy people. There wasn't hardly any normal people walking around. So, yeah, they stuck out like a sore thumb.
It was bad.
And you look at the people that live out in Vegas in the underground, the tunnels.
Yeah.
The wash areas and stuff. I didn't realize that until a few years ago when I watched a video of a couple of guys that went down in there with them, and I was like, oh my God.
And a lot of them may have been, hopefully they got out before the storms hit, because the strip was underwater. Lacey said, she was lucky for me. She goes, I can walk to work.
All right.
So she's just down the street. But yeah, some of the areas that we saw, it's like, we know where that is. That street is, Eastern is just right down by where we would stay. And so it would have sucked to have been, staying at the casino that we normally stay at and finding out that, oh shit, our car's in 2 feet of water.
Right.
Because we don't park in the parking garage there. We park on the back side, on the, where the employees park.
But if those people didn't get out of those tunnels, they're washed in there and out somewhere where the tunnels come out and stuff. And I mean, I'm shocked you haven't said, or somebody said there's a lot of bodies floating here and there and everything out there, but you never know. But you talk about spooky. When them guys walked down in that tunnel to show everything, I was like, you got more guts than I do. And everything. I can go into a haunted location, no problem. Walking down into something like that.
You just don't know what you're going to come across.
Exactly.
Or who and how bad off that person is when it comes right down to it. Do they need something from you? Do they want something from you? I don't know. I know that a lot of these people I would see up on the street begging. And it really raises your awareness to your surroundings. And it was always highly aware of what's going on, who's around me, what's behind me, what's in front of me, and then on top of that, we always had Leah with us for a lot of years. So we were having to pay attention to everything. So, yep, Bill, Tennessee is a great place.
Yep.
Yes, it is. Beautiful part of the country.
Yep, like it. Hey,
Hi,
guys.
Michael.
Hope you guys are doing good.
Hey, Susan and Mike.
So,
all right, we're gonna.
I wanted to ask you a question.
Okay.
So, trying to stick to more paranormal stuff.
Well, we're gonna.
I got some.
Wake people up, maybe.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on time travel? Do you think it exists?
And anybody out there, go ahead and
chime in.
I won't say actual time travel where you can go back to 1838 or go forward to 2030. No, I don't believe in that part. But as far as time travel, when your spirit leaves your body and you go somewhere else, kind of like you did.
Astral travel?
Exactly. And everything. I kind of consider that a time travel and everything because you left one time in your body and at another time you was at another location seeing something and came back. So to me, that is a time travel. Not the other way, going back, oh, I want to go back in 1880s and see Jesse James. No, I don't think we can do that.
What are your thoughts?
And right, Bill, spirits can travel. I've seen them go from here to California in a flash.
Yeah, I know spirits can easily. But yeah, well, we saw a thing on the Osborne's Believe about time travel. Supposedly there's a guy, he's like 1944. He looked like he's holding something by his ear, but they were saying that it was a cell phone, and it wasn't. But and then we saw something else about time travel, and we said, well, we got to talk about people's thoughts on time travel anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That would be neat if you could do it. But if you could do it, would you like to travel forward or would you like to travel back?
It depends on your goal.
I don't really want to travel forward.
Right.
Because then it'd be boring after that. You would know what would happen. But going back in time to be at certain locations right before a certain event happened, to see it in person.
Would you want to go back?
Yeah, I would go back.
Okay. Would you want to go back and maybe change some decision or something you did back then?
No, because I always, they've always said in the movies and everything, if you went back in time travel and changed something, the ripple effect, and that's very possible. I could see that happening. If you went back and found yourself in a certain situation and decided this has to change, what would that affect everything into the future? I can see a big change.
What if? I hate to do the what if stuff, but this
that's all right. Hey,
for
this is a good one.
But what if they came to you and said, Carl, would you like to go back in time or forward? You've already said you wanted to go back in time. Okay, yeah. They said, all right, we can send you back in time, but you can't come back to this time. How far back would you want to go? And you get to start, you basically start all over again.
God, that's a tough one. That really is.
I know. How far back would you want to go? And you basically just start all over.
Now, I got a question.
But you would remember what had happened between that time.
You would know. Do I get to take my knowledge I have now back with me?
Yeah, see, Mike's, he said he's a 20s baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, you'd have the information that you have now, but you got to start back at that time. And basically start all over. How far back would you go?
I'd like to go back to the I'd like to go back to the 1880s with the knowledge I have now. Yeah, you might have been swallowed instead of being born. But Yeah, I would go back to the late 1880s with the knowledge I have now and stuff.
The 80s?
1880s.
Medieval times, says Susan. Oh, okay, that's
Oh,
interesting.
no, I ain't going back to medieval times. I ain't getting
I
chopped
go
up
back
with a
to the
sword
plague.
or an axe.
See, when I think of time travel, I think of two things. Okay. The first one is the time machine, the old one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I think of that one. Then I think about hot tub time machine. And I would like to go back to around the same time and create Google myself. So we would have Google instead of Google.
Yeah.
It would be better than what Google is. I know that.
But yeah, that is what I think is
Yeah,
funny.
we would, Mike, if we went back in that time. Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that could be a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because in the 1880s, it'd still be good to get elected real easy because there's no television, no internet, nothing. You put a name down and people vote you in.
Horse and buggy. My mom
And
said
then
horse
you
and
change
buggy.
things and put them into laws.
Slower pace.
Yeah, it'd be slower pace, but yeah, it would be if you went back to the 1880s, even into the early part of the 1900s, with the knowledge you have now, do you think you'd be multimillionaires within 2 years?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you would.
Easy.
Everybody'd look at you weird going, what's this? What are you drawing out? What's this? What do you think?
You could look at it this way. You could say, I want to save America and go back far enough, talk Obama's mom into aborting and Biden's mom into aborting.
Yeah, we could.
Hey, you need to get rid of this little booger.
And maybe the Clintons.
And the Clintons, yeah, wipe them out.
Like I said, we could start a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You'd research a whole bunch of names before you go back. Go back in time and you find these people and go, don't have babies.
I mean, what?
We're telling you.
Here's your coat hanger.
What if we went back in time and we could have saved JFK from getting shot? What would that have changed? Would it have kept the Democrat Party better? You know, because he wasn't he would be a Republican now.
Yeah.
Because Johnson was a nut job. But that's a whole different thing.
I'm joining the hit squad, I guess.
Yeah, we would. We would. We'd join the hit squad. But yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things you go back, like JFK, his brother when he got shot.
RFK.
Yeah. And I mean, if you could have warned him and had him believe you enough, right, that things, yeah, there's a lot of places we could change.
What I mean, yeah, if we could have stopped MLK from getting killed.
Hey, if we could have went back in time,
you would have a day off
and found. If we would have went back in time and found Hitler's mother, and said, if you get pregnant, you're dead.
Or find a coat hanger.
Exactly. You know, or find his father and say, no, we ain't letting this happen. We know what's going to happen and everything.
The thing is, you know, when you think about time travel and changing things, we don't know what, if we change something, if it would make something worse.
The ripple effect. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things they talk about.
I told Carl, I said, if you're told you can, you know, you had a choice to go back or forward, he said back. And it looks like everybody else is saying backwards too. I said, but you had to be told, you know, once you pick your date or when you want to go back, you can't come back to now.
You had to stay.
You had to stay there. You'll have that knowledge that you had, but you're just starting all over.
I would, like I said, I would do the late 1880s.
1880.
and everything, and live my life out.
That's what Emmett picked. So okay. So I'm going to ask this question.
So when you slip, say, "Hey, I'm going to give you a call." Oops.
No, actually, you want the correct answer is you're going to get into a time travel machine.
That's
tell them
true,
I want
Mike.
the diagram and plans for this thing before I get in here. That way, when I get back here, you're leaving me. Maybe I can make a company that can make these parts and I can come back.
Yeah.
So now going back to time travel movies, what movie is your favorite time travel movie? I can only think of like 4 off the top of my head.
I would say mine is Back to the Future.
Which one?
The original.
Yeah, the original.
The original.
3 was good. 2, not as much.
The original, you're sitting there learning how he's building the vehicle and what goes into it. All the others, you know everything about it.
Okay.
Right? And stuff. And they're freaking out when he goes back and does this and that when he had to go back into the Western days. And I mean, yeah, that's time travel. That's that one right there. I like that one a whole bunch.
So which is your favorite time travel movie?
I'd have to go with that. Back to the Future, the first one.
Hot Tub Time Machine, the first one.
Oh, that one was funny.
I had to laugh. I mean,
it was so believable.
I mean, they're all and the time travel or the time traveler's wife.
Oh, that was hilarious.
That movie was, if you're romantic, it's good, but it makes you think about the time traveler, not time traveling, but how he's working his whole time to get back to the woman he loves, and how she was waiting for him every single time.
Yep. No hoverboards. Darn it.
Yeah, and the auto laces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you look at stuff like that was made back then. 20 years after it's made, what comes out? They have a board that has air propulsion in it that will hover. So it's always funny. You know, we always look back at 50s and 60s sci-fi deals, Buck Rogers going to the moon. Going to the moon and everything.
Yeah.
What happened in the 60s? We go to the moon. So, you know, it's funny. Are these people making these movies finding out technology 20 years before they're getting ready to do it?
And is
or
that
they learning after it?
Or is that because there's portals and they're time traveling through those portals?
It could be.
Is that the reason why the government wants us all to stay off of Skinwalker Ranch?
That's very possible.
Because when they talk portals, it's totally different than when we talk portals in ghost hunting.
Right. Ghost hunting, our portals, spirits go in and out.
That thing is getting really weird. The stuff they're getting.
Yeah. I haven't seen any of it because for a long time, I just see bits and pieces that pop up on Facebook on it. Because now you got to watch it. You go to skinwalkerranch.com and sign up and pay to watch it on their website.
Oh.
We may have a way around that for you.
Yeah, we got it on demand, but that's how I had to get caught up.
So
still getting.
So Bill, and you say we're 50 years behind in technology because that's all that they're letting us release. The government is going, we can only release this much. If they released everything, like the AI stuff got leaked years ago, I don't think they were meant to do that. I think that they were hoping to get it perfected enough to where they could steal what they wanted to steal from all of us.
Speaking of the AI, that is getting really spooky nowadays. Because they're saying the AI robots are now having conscience.
Oh, so we're now heading towards, say, like the iRobot type stuff, that movie where the robot cries.
They got live cameras.
Right. He thinks he's got his own mind and creating it and more.
Watch stuff live.
Yeah, I seen a couple of things pop up, and I went to the websites and checked it out and did a little research on it. And yeah, it's getting really weird out there with some of these AIs. I mean, people, you really got to watch what you're doing. You know, everybody was scared of smart TVs that had a camera in it, that the FBI and their government and everybody's watching you, right? What are you doing when you buy one of these robots vacuum cleaners that maps out your house to vacuum?
Yep.
What's that? You know, that's an AI.
Piper loves it.
It's gaining its own memory. So now it's thinking. You move a piece of furniture, it'll go up and know exactly which way to go because it's already mapped it out.
Well, that's like the one that Lindsay has. If it bumps into it, it turns and goes the other way, and it avoids that area. So Lindsay's had a robot vacuum since Piper was little. So Piper used to be afraid of it, and now she loves it. Nolan thinks the robot vacuum is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, because I'm sure he tries chasing it.
He likes vacuum cleaners.
Oh.
I don't know why. He's not my grandson. His. He only likes Grandpa. He likes his papa.
Not much to do with the grandma.
Yep. But Piper does. She calls me almost every day.
Yeah.
So, but
that's little boys. Boys will change when he gets a little older, and Grandma and Grandpa will be number one in the world.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, we met him up with him the other day at Pensacola Beach. Had a good time. So back to this time travel and stuff. Do you believe that portals exist for things other than, we know that
we know
we're pretty sure they exist for ghosts. Do we think that they exist for time travel, for Bigfoot and aliens to go through from other dimensions, or if it's just like an elevator, there's a hole here and this is where they're coming down and we just can't see them, like Beam Me Up Scotty?
That I don't disbelieve it, but I'm not fully into it, especially on the, we've always talked about Bigfoot possibility of being an alien, right? Because they see them and then they're gone in an instant. Okay.
No footprints.
Exactly.
No
or you
evidence.
See footprints going up and then they stop. It's like Beam Me Up, Scotty. Right? So could they? I would say possibly, if there's portals for ghosts, there's got to be another form of intelligence out there. There's too many things unexplained in the skies, right? That, they probably have the technology to portal something down and everything. So, I could really, I look into it a lot more. We'll put it that way.
I mean, I'm just kind of, I just wonder, and there's got to be more places than Skinwalker Ranch, that have this type of activity. It can't be just one place. I mean, I know that there's like a Skinwalker type ranch in Georgia, I believe, and I can't find anything on it. Maybe I'll talk to Kat.
There's probably a lot more stuff around. We just don't know it.
Yeah, because it's not common knowledge. We're talking physics and astroscience and all this stuff that we are not schooled in. We had school about it. We're too old. Don't do that anymore. We'd have to research it to find out. So I kind of want to know more about, Are portals and wormholes the same thing? Do wormholes even exist in outer space? You know, according to Star Trek and Star Wars.
Well, we know there's black holes out in outer space.
Do we know that for sure, or is that just a scientist telling us?
That's the scientists telling us. Again, so there's no real documentation on it. None of our spacecrafts have went into a black hole.
Mm-hmm. And if they did it wipe them from our memory because they time traveled back to before and we don't know it? You know, this could be a wormhole in itself.
Yeah, you could dig yourself into a wormhole on that one. But yeah, wormhole. You look at you're talking about Star Trek here. Okay. All the words and phrases they used on that show is used now in scientific talk and paranormal and stuff like that. And you look back to the time travel. How many times did you see Star Trek show up on a different planet that was back in the Cowboys days?
Yeah.
We've seen that several times. Or they were in the Gladiator days and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, it's...
Like I said, it makes you wonder, you know, are there different dimensions? Is all these things just right on top of each other and we're just acclimated not to see it because of when we are. Not who we are, when we are. So are there dinosaurs roaming around outside and because of when we are, I don't see them?
No. But you go back to the dinosaurs, and I kind of believe what Pastor Gary believes in the Bible about dinosaurs or about everything that goes on is right before the Great Flood, the planet had kind of like the jungles down in Brazil, a coating over top of it. Mm-hmm. And we believe the dinosaurs lived with man during that time. And when the Great Flood came, it killed them all.
Right.
So that's one way of looking at it. But I'm going by Bill's question down here. He believes there's land on Earth that they won't let us explore. We know there is.
Yeah.
It's at the very tip top of the world on the Earth.
Bottom, and on the bottom.
And on the bottom. But the tip top, isn't it? To where, let's see, the Antarctic.
Yeah, Antarctic.
So the Arctic is up that way and Antarctica is down that way. Okay.
Whichever one there is up there, all the countries got together and nobody can explore. Why?
Too cold.
Up there? Well, they have people up there in different...
They got some up there, but...
Got a bunch
scientists and things. But what's up there they don't want us to find?
It's a portal.
Very well could be. That could be their time travel portal up there sitting there.
I mean, it maybe it could be Journey to the Center of the Earth. That could be where the door is that gets us into the portal to get to the journey to the center of the Earth. I mean, I know we're going back to Jules Verne because that's a lot of this stuff goes to Jules Verne regardless. But why would they be doing that? What are they hiding from all of us that maybe we do need to know? It's not the movie. You can't handle the truth. No, we can handle the truth. Are they just afraid that we're all going to want to go? And we're going to die on the trip because it's so damn cold.
Yeah.
Because
I know we would.
We would.
Got Florida blood now.
I got my blanket. Too cold at 78.
You always have a blanket. It don't matter where
I know
that and stuff. I mean, but yeah, these are some great questions, and a lot of people commenting over here about different things. But yeah, portals and places that we cannot investigate, can't get into, and everything. It's amazing. It really is.
And when will they share what they're finding? Will they? Will they ever share? Is that something that we would have to go forward in time to find out? if we're not alive at the time, then we're screwed. But it's not like we can use Google Maps to look and see what's up there, because it's just a giant blur of white ice.
What do you think it would change if the government and the Vatican released all the informations and secrets they're hiding?
If China would just release the secrets they're hiding, that would be amazing. I mean, not even because they released all their secrets. I guarantee that most of their secrets have to do with everybody else.
Probably.
So be a one-stop shop. You get China and you get everybody else.
Right. But look at what it would do to not just the United States, the entire world.
Oh, yeah.
And everything. I mean, the secrets and stuff they're not releasing to us that they say, oh, the people can't handle it. The people don't need to know this. If they released all that, boy, would this world and this country would change immediately.
Well, what little tidbits they are releasing are getting people to think more and more, like the stuff that they released about UAPs
and people thinking
and we're questioning what we're seeing in the skies. Is that truly garbage burning up, or is that something else? Because we've seen space garbage come back into the atmosphere and burn up. Neat. It is really kind of neat.
Right.
We've seen shooting stars. Are we really seeing shooting stars, or is that a spaceship going by so fast that we just happen to catch a glimpse of it and go, okay, where are we making a wish on a shooting star? Are we making a wish on an alien life form? Do we know?
That's it. We don't know.
No. And we've been lied to.
You've got the government radar checking everything up there, what's coming into our outer space. You got every airport checking all the skies from the inner part of the outer space down and stuff. But none of them can release any information that what they see or what they think they see up there.
Huh. I wonder if the dull yellow sun was because of space, or not dust, but smoke, pollution, things like that. Because pollution isn't, no matter what they say, it's not as bad as it was in the 70s.
No.
I mean, I grew up in New Jersey where I had to be tested for lead every 6 months because of lead fallout from leaded gasoline. Because it all just fell out everywhere. It was in the water, it was in the paint, it was everywhere. And so is it possible that we've cleaned up our business some, and it's not as bad as it was in the 70s? And are chemtrails real? That's another thing. I don't know. Are they really chemical trails, or are they ice like we were told? We don't know. And if it is chemicals, what chemicals is it, and what are they trying to poison us from this time? Because at this point, we wonder about that with our food. I mean, just the different ingredients in our food versus the UK.
Oh, yeah.
So,
the UK doesn't sell anything like what we sell over in the United States. If it's the same product, you read the ingredients, and there's two different things, because they outlaw several things that we still have in our food, processed foods.
Yeah, and one of the things that they've outlawed in other countries, canola oil. Mm-hmm. What do we use? Canola oil.
All the time.
Yeah, and it's something we probably shouldn't be using, but it's in everything. It's in peanut butter. It's in this. It's in that. But one of the examples that I give is strawberries and cream, Quaker oatmeal, the little packages. Look at the United States versus the UK. You can tell, you can say everything that's in the UK one. There's no chemicals in it. You read ours and you're kind of tripping over your tongue to figure out how to say the words.
Right.
If they add fiber to stuff, they're putting in propylene glycol. What do we need propylene glycol for? Well, apparently to keep us regular, because we don't know when we have to poop in this country. So we have to have it in our food to make us go.
Exactly.
I don't get all these additives that is in all this crap. And no matter what it is, it doesn't matter if it's food or drinks or, food or chemtrails. I mean, what's in it?
Well, talking about the chemtrails out of the airplanes, I was just sitting here remembering things when I was little outside and everything, and look up in the sky and see an airplane. There wasn't a chemtrail.
But
way back.
Well, so I live near the airport.
I've seen them, but if you got more,
but they also weren't jet engines.
There were jet engines. I mean, I live near. Okay, so I live by JFK, which was not called. It was just turned called JFK back then. Newark, Hoboken, all these airports in New Jersey. Plus, I live by BWI. I saw them all the time. It was just common, and of course, we had Washington D.C. So we had all this stuff all around. And as a kid, you may not even have realized it.
Yeah.
That it was happening. Because all chemtrails are not white. Some chemtrails are
dark.
Well, dark, but clear.
Clear silver, light blue, different things like that.
Depends on the moisture in the air.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
but I mean, it's a lot of different things out there. We know that.
And I think part of what's killing the bees is that we don't have enough vegetation for the bees.
For them to pollinate.
Yeah. Yep. In fact, we just, that was one of the things that we wanted to do here was when we made, put plants in, we wanted to make sure that we had places for the bees and the butterflies to pollinate. Didn't want to have, nothing, we have gardenia bushes. Okay. Did I plant them? No, but I'm still trying to find what I want to plant here that will help with the bee population and I'm allergic to bees, so bees are fine. I don't like wasps, and wasps are useless. Just saying.
Right.
But yeah, that's one of the things that we've been looking at is what can we add that's going to be.
I see a lot more beehives around nowadays than I did over the last few years. So I don't know if a lot of people are starting to make their own honey, get their own honeycomb and honey and products like that. Or I notice, especially farmers, because of all the no-tilling up here and the chemicals put on and everything, they're putting some beehives out by their big properties. Maybe to help pollinate their crop with the bees and everything like that to bring more into it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know that there's a lot of beekeepers up in Chillicothe and Ridgeway, and I mean just random people, not really farmers, just random people who have beehives in their yards.
Yeah.
I can point out 3 in Ridgeway that I know.
I can point out 2 just in the Polo area that do it for the honey and to sell honey products. So, yeah, the African bees are growing stronger.
Is that where? Okay, I don't know why would they be growing stronger?
Because you got more beehives around and everything, and they're getting used to different plants that they haven't had before. Mike says there's a lot of them in Springfield.
Yeah, there's a lot of local honey down there.
So, yeah.
But here, it took me a little while, but there's a ton of people with local honey. You go to the store, they've got an entire section on local honey. And then you got the farmer's market that's got like 8 people that are selling their honey. And you go to another farmer's market and it's 8 or 10 different people there. So
it's a good revenue for money.
Well, down here, it is all year long. The bees don't go dormant except for maybe a month.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll know.
Not like it is up here. They go dormant for about 3 to 4 months.
It just depends on the weather up there.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, if it gets as cold as you're saying it's gonna, they may get dormant sooner. We're starting to see hummingbirds. So the sooner we see hummingbirds, lots of them, of course, the earlier winter will come up there.
Oh, I know. Good. It's amazing them little bitty birds travel that far. It really is.
I know.
They're amazing little birds.
I put up a hummingbird feeder a couple weeks ago, and now we're seeing them.
I'm seeing more every day.
I think I want to move it closer to the window. So, yeah, the hummingbirds are now starting September and October is when they start coming back.
So they're now down in the Springfield area. They've left our area up here because Cassie's mom and dad out there have hummingbird feeders, and all through the summer, you'll be sitting there doing something, and here's these little hummingbirds coming up to feed. Yeah. We've had them come up and sit on our fingers.
Oh, really?
I know Ron's been getting buzzed.
Yeah.
And not the kind of way you guys think. So let me show you, see if you can see my hummingbird picture here. Let's see if we can get that up there.
Too much glare.
Let's see.
It's hard to see.
Yeah, maybe a little sideways there.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe I'll just bring them to transfer it. But yep, this is it's a female ruby-throated whatever. So, but yeah, Leah got a picture of it while she's outside.
Yeah, this conversation's really shifted.
Yeah, we shift around a lot.
No,
it leads from
he's just saying all the different things we talked about. So
yeah.
But
we're talking about portals, okay? Different kind of portal we were talking about earlier, but I definitely know there's spirit portals. I actually pretty sure I saw one when we were at the Sally House. We were tour guides there for 7 years. We had lots of different mediums come in over the years. Some of them may have knew each other. I don't know. But everyone that came in, they'd walk through the house and they'd say, there's a portal in this corner. The corner they would point at was the dining room corner by the kitchen.
By the bookcase. Yep.
And every time, and then if we had tour groups in there, if somebody was standing in that corner, they'd always get lightheaded or feel like they're getting sick or something. You know, we would never tell them this. This went on for years. One day, I'm down in the basement, which normally that's where I was at. I had about 12 people down there. Everything's going okay. People are taking pictures. There's a big hole in the basement. And that's where everybody was more drawn to, I would say.
It was creepy.
And anyway, everything was going good. And all of a sudden, somebody goes, hey, my camera's not working on my phone. And I said, oh, really? And another person said, now my camera's not working. And next thing you know, you got all these people saying, none of their electronics was working. Right? So I got all these people. I said, okay, something is about to happen. Because when their electronics would start going bad, something was going to happen every time. This one lady, her phone is working. She's taking video of the hole. And I'm looking around. I said, nobody's camera or phone is working except hers. And she's just standing there holding it in a hole. And she goes, what is this? And I got all these people bothering me like, hey, it's not working. It's not working. And I said, what's what? And she goes, look. And I look over her shoulder. Her friend was standing next to her. It was kind of lit up, but you could see like from the right side, a small ball of light would come into the picture. It'd get bigger and brighter, and it would stop. And then like that, just go straight up. And I said, what is that? And I looked past her phone to see if I could see it with my eyes. And, you couldn't see anything. It was kind of dark in there. But she had her phone. It was lit up where you could see it. And then we'd see 2 balls of light come in. Same thing. They get bigger and brighter, stop, and then like they got sucked up. And this went on for about 10 minutes. And everybody down there, they quit complaining about their phones or the cameras not working. Everybody just kind of gathered in there, and we were all watching this. And I thought, what the hell are we watching here? And then, the most balls of light we saw was 3. But it's usually, between 1 and 3. Went on for about 10 minutes. It stopped. Everybody's phones started working again. Their cameras started working. And I sat there and watched. I went, okay, where they're going straight up, I said, it's in this spot. I went upstairs. I marked it. It was in that corner. That's where these balls were going. Right in that very corner, they all said that's where this portal was.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I've heard a lot of them say
from the basement up. Yeah. Yeah, that was weird. I never saw it again. Every time after that, I'd go in there with phone, take videos, and I try and, look for that again. Never could. Never happened again.
Well, a lot of things happened in that basement, as people see. Look at what happened to our SLS down there.
Yeah.
On that furnace.
Yeah.
In between the openings and on the other side over here, where nothing could make a stick figure, were 2 little bitty stick figures.
With 4 legs.
Bunch of us down there seen it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And all we could think about is what Denise had told us that she sees.
Well,
down there.
She had said that before, but we didn't put 2 and 2 together at that time. We just saw these 4-legged stick figures climbing up on top of each other, and just kept getting bigger and bigger. And we're like, what are we looking at here?
And the problem is with that, it was in between the air duct and the actual furnace,
right?
Where there's nothing in between there.
Yep.
That could make a stick figure.
Right.
There was a block wall behind it and stuff. That's what that one there still has me amazed.
Oh yeah.
I try to debunk it.
Figures, they all look the same. They all look the same. They weren't different. It was weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we go upstairs and we're scratching our heads, and Denise is up there. She goes, "What's going on?" We told her, and she goes, "Oh, those are imps." We're like, "What?"
She knew what they were, because it's what she had described that she would see down there scurrying across the floor and stuff. But yeah. But back on the portals, we all believe or try to believe there are portals for the spirits to transfer back and forth.
Yeah.
Now, here's a question for you. Is there a certain type of portal where good spirits can come back and forth, or a different portal where demons and evil comes through?
Nah, I'm sure they're different.
Well, if you watch shows like Supernatural, they basically kind of had, the ground would open up, and this is where the bad ones would come from, and the sky would open up, and the good ones would come from there. Do I believe Supernatural? No. I know that it's all stuff that they've taken from the Bible. So, yeah, I think that there are doors to different cells that open, and one is good and one is bad, and one may be purgatory as well in between, because just because somebody's in purgatory doesn't mean that they're good or bad. They just haven't earned the right to be.
They haven't went to heaven, and they haven't went to hell.
Right. They're trying to figure out what to do with them. They're on probation right now, that kind of stuff. So is that the case? I don't know. But another question is on the portals. Do you believe there is what we would call a gatekeeper at the portal to allow certain ones in and certain ones out?
Well, people have had near-death experiences. They kind of said something like there's a gatekeeper.
Like St. Peter.
Yeah.
But it's funny you should say that, because in my job, 2 of the jobs that I've had have been gatekeeper. So, and so I utilize are you the key master? A lot. But yeah, I believe that there is somebody, whether you physically see them or not, there's somebody who controls that revolving door to, yeah, you can go, nah, you can't. There's
that'd be a tough job.
Yeah,
you'd be busy.
It's judging
24/7.
It's a judgy job. I mean, because that's what I mean when I'm in the gatekeeper role. I got to judge everything, whether I'm judging it right or wrong means nothing, because I'm right no matter what, even though somebody else will tell me I'm wrong. But as far as that goes, the gatekeeper is the person that, or the thing that keeps balance in all the other things. So at least that's how I see it. Am I right? Nope. We don't know. We don't know if I'm right. We'll find out when we die.
That's the way I look at everything in the paranormal. I'm just here to investigate and try to figure it out. But in reality, you'll never know until you leave this world.
And the question is why, when the people leave this earth that are paranormal investigators, why don't they come and tell us? They know that we're here. Why is it like Beetlejuice? And there's a guidebook that tells them, hey, you can't do this. Mom hasn't come back and used her special word with me yet.
Right.
And it was funny, on Ghost Adventures, they did have that one that they said that their mother had a special word that she was going to tell them when she came back. And the word was used. But do they know that was the mother, or was that somebody that overheard and wants it to believe that it's the woman's mother?
That's it right there. A lot of it is people listening
that was the word.
Spirits Box, Echo Box.
No, it was a word.
All this equipment. If they're expecting to hear something, they're going to hear it, because they're going to believe.
Right.
Oh, you mean like I killed 6 kids? I mean, because for years that's the only EVP that I ever hear, is every time I hear one, it's I killed 6 kids. Every time. But again, that's because they shoved that one down our throats. That was one of the first ones on Ghost Adventures that they made a big, huge deal about. Years and years ago with Johnny.
That's why I hate watching the little shorts and stuff of people showing something like on Echo Box or a Spirit Box, and you're listening, and the word comes across the bottom that they want you to hear.
Right.
I hate that with a passion.
Oh, yeah.
If you're going to do it, make one video without it, and then make another one with what, and put on there, this is what I heard.
Hey, we've heard some stuff you didn't need the closed caption. I mean, you could.
Yeah. We have heard stuff.
Which reminds me,
stuff in the Sally house said that you wouldn't want to say live anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have an EVP that I need to listen to. April sent it to me yesterday when I was at the hospital, so I haven't had a chance to listen to it. But we need to listen to that.
From what?
Her house.
Off her camera?
Yeah, it caught it on her camera when she wasn't.
Yeah.
So,
like I said, pictures I saw.
You listen to it and dissect it, the way you need to, and come up with it. But yeah.
The bad part is I'm the worst person to ask. I don't hear EVPs unless it actually is spoken by a spirit. It was weird. That one EVP that they got on Ghost Adventures at McPike Mansion, that one still kind of creeps me out because it is my voice.
Yeah.
And how in the hell my voice is on there, I'll never know. I wasn't anywhere near there.
That could be part of post-production. Your voice is all over the internet on shows for the last, 7-8 years and everything. They could clip out one section.
But why me? Why would they have picked me? And is it a spirit that's echoing my voice, mimicking my voice?
I don't know.
Well, if they're using an AM or FM radio, PSB7 right?
Yeah, that's all they use.
We've always been told there's radio waves
Right.
floating everywhere,
Mhm.
from even way back when radio was first made and stuff. And every once in a while, you'll pick up something like that. So, if you've ever been on an actual radio show,
Terrestrial radio, yeah.
yep, okay, there you go. Your voice is floating somewhere in our universe.
In the ether.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's weird how, well, technology nowadays, you can do just about anything in a video.
Oh,
We
yeah.
know that. And it's just they can do it. So the TV shows, there's no difference on it.
Well, I just find it's kind of a little strange to me. Last now 4 or 5 years on Ghost Adventures, all their EVPs sound like Jay or Billy. That's the voices. That's what they sound like.
Every once in a while, Aaron.
Yeah, every now and then Aaron, but it's usually Jay or Billy. It's like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's amazing how they sound like them.
Yeah, they're tech people.
Yeah.
Oh, go figure that out.
I'm not real whoopee on their newest tech guy, but I don't.
But you see him all the time now. He's like the star of the show anymore.
But so next, I hope all of you guys had a great time tonight. We're getting ready to end the show, and next Monday night at 7 p.m. Central, my guest is Keith Ottersberg. You guys may have seen him on. Let's see. It was on Dead Files for his home up there in Nebraska. Had a major haunting.
Ask him how his house is coming along.
His house is looking good.
Is it fine?
Yeah, he's actually living there now.
Yeah,
his house burned down, and he's been working on rebuilding it, and so it looks really good. So we'll be talking to him about his role in Cheryl Ann Elliott Fletcher's movie that we talked to her about a few weeks ago, and what he's doing now. And I think that'll be interesting. So join us next Monday night at 7 p.m. Central for the Paranormal Pride right here on Bill of Rights Network and on all the pages that I normally am on. So make sure you check that out. And
I know something happened. I set every show up on Rumble, and now it's not on Rumble. I've got to check this after we get off here and see what's going on.
Did we get in trouble?
No, not on Rumble.
Not on Rumble. We don't. No, I don't know. I had issues with it last night on our show. Me and Phoenix and Mike's talking, and Mike goes, "I'm gonna go get another phone. I'll be right back." Well, by accident, he ended the show.
Oh.
Me and Phoenix was talking, and I went, "Oh crap, the show has stopped." So I went back in and redid it and redid Rumble, and it didn't pop up on Rumble.
Uh-oh.
So I got to check. Yeah. But, yeah, we'll get that all straightened out. I'll get that straightened out after the show. But down at the bottom of the screen is all our shows on the Bill of Rights Network that you see scrolling across the bottom. We always want to give a shout out to the Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment Facebook page, Things Network page, and Japan Paranormal's page. Go check them out for all kinds of shows on paranormal and stuff. So, and stay tuned. In an hour, Conservative View will be back on tonight with Barb and Phoenix. So check it out. And that's about all I got to say.
Are we going to be here next week at 5 o'clock?
Yes, we will.
If you guys have any topics you'd like us to cover, please let me know, and we will do our homework and make sure that we can cover those topics for you. If you don't have any idea what you want to hear,
Barb's Eastern time.
If you want to hear a special guest, let us know that. I probably know them. So, especially if it's in the paranormal. Oh, and please keep Scott Grunwald in your prayers. For the stroke that he had is very debilitating, and that's the last.
Thanks everybody for joining us tonight.
Right. And we will see you next week here on Paranormal Nation Radio, Not So Normal. Have a good evening, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.